Oh, hello. Welcome to the workshop. It's a Friday. I've worked hard this week. It's time for beer and nonsense. There may be adult themes. Beware. Right. I'm thinking today in the workshop I am going to fix myself a beer. Why don't you join me? No glass here, I'm afraid, folks. So it's going to have to be out of the bottle, I know. Don't keep telling me. Am I going to get it off with that? No, I need a screwdriver. It's not very well organised, is it, Richard? I knew someone that did bloody operators. Twat. Right. Oh, come on. Now I'm going to have to get a bottle opener here, folks. Right. So. Oh. Cheers. That's an unusual effect. My bar still turns around. Right. Cheers. Right, okay. There's been quite a few questions I've come through, which I'm very pleased with. Thank you. Thanks for all of the questions you sent through. We'll start with a bit of feedback first of all. And I do like feedback, constructive or otherwise. I like the feedback. And the general feedback has been that the quality of my channel has gone downhill somewhat since the move to my new workshop that we're in right now. And I've acknowledged that. I agree. I think it has. I think that I've been busier in this workshop. Also, there is or are limited times when I can actually film anything because the guys doing the recycle over the road in Wycombe Recycle. They make a lot of noise. It's very difficult for me to film while they're making a lot of noise. I make a lot of noise, but it does allow me to get on with stuff. So what then generally happens is I say, right, this is a load of shit that I'm going to get done today, and then show you the shit that's been done. I think also another piece of relevant feedback has been that the intros for my videos have become somewhat tiresome. Now, I suppose you're right, actually, because the people are basically saying that regular subscribers know where I am. They know about the donations, they know about the website and the email address, they know all of that shit. So why don't I stick it at the end? Because new subscribers will watch right the way through to the end. And I'm actually inclined to agree with you. So we're going to try. I will try. Now bear in mind that I'm still on my own in this workshop doing all of the work, all of the filming, all of the editing. There is no chief grip, there's no wardrobe assistant, there's no one else apart from me. So I do listen to feedback and I will do my best to improve things and get it back to where it was before. Lighting is another issue that I've got in this workshop. I've hung a little light up over there which was donated to me yesterday. Thank you very much. Oh, is that a lucky penny? That's a lucky 2 cents. No, James donated a number of things to me. So James has donated a pallet truck. He donated 3 beers. He drank the 4th. A bag of donuts. I'm never going to say no to beer or donuts. And a nice lead light as well. Corded lead light. Thank you very much, James. Oh, and a chair. Give me a chair as well. Office chair, but you know, sometimes I need to rest my butt talks when I'm working. So thanks for that, James. There's been plenty of other donations. I'll probably need to go through. I'll set up a video to go through all of the stuff that I've been given. Because I've been given some amazing stuff. I really have. And the generosity is outstanding. And every single person that has been thanked personally. I'm just astonished at some of the things that people have given me. Anyway, lighting. I was rambling on there somewhat. So lighting, I'm kind of in a bit of a quandary because at the moment the lighting is non-LED and that seems to work really well with this camera in that it doesn't flicker. However, there's dark spots in the workshop, like over there behind me. So when I'm filming, And I kind of get to the end of my working day and I'm editing all this stuff up thinking, bollocks, that's a bit dark there. Never mind, I'll just lob it on. But you guys are kind of seeing that, and it's an issue. And then the other thing that people are complaining about is sometimes when I'm more than 3 feet away from the microphone and the guys over the road are kicking off, that you can't hear me. So I've got myself, you'll like this, fucking great big microphone cord extension cable. So I can take the microphone to the workpiece. I've even got a little tripod here I can mount the microphone onto, see? Little thing. So I will endeavour to improve. I will improve the channel. So that's been the feedback, really. And thank you for the people that have given me feedback. I do listen to every single piece of feedback you're given. Even the ones where say, you know, you smell and you dress strange. Yes, and yes. I'm not going to change that, but I will change elements of the channel which are irritating you folk. Right, okay. Am I looking up to this camera? Is this an awkward angle? Shall I lower you a little bit? Let me lower you a little bit. And I am lowering. This is something that I purchased using donations to the channel. So the monetary donations. I thought you'd like to see this. It's a rather marvellous engineering cabinet. The drawers are removable. They're steel. There's quite a lot of them. It's twice the size that really I wanted for an engineering cabinet. But look at that. That is magnificent. I could put all my gaskets, all of my hub seals, all of my lock tabs, everything go into this thing. It can all be filed up using index cards on the front, telling me exactly where everything is, and I can get rid of all of this chaos. There's the lead light that James gave me. Thank you, James. Right, let's get on with beer and bollocks, because there are some questions, and people are keen also to find out. Bang the microphone then. Right, let's get back to beer and bollocks. What's my hair looking like? I've probably got a filthy face because I've been welding and grinding all day. I've been welding and using the angle grinder all day long. Yeah, it's end of a long day. Where are we? My watch is over here. There's my watch. It is 5:20 on a Friday. Apparently, there is always one Friday in every week, but all the other days are just day. Right. Questions. Some of these I'm going to kind of be a little bit cagey about. So, someone's been on to me about why do I drive such shit old cars? Because I fucking want to. You can't tell me how to live my life. No, I mean, I must admit, my Range Rover L95, who's waiting out here patiently, you can see him out there in the gloom. He's going to get a new rear cross member this weekend. But my daily driver, 1993 Range Rover Classic, does absolutely everything that I would want a car to do. Just plug in the power cable. This is, again, poor organisation here, Richard. What the fuck is going on with you today? There we are. Does absolutely everything that I want out of a motor car. And I love driving it. I love the stance. I love being where I am in it. Would I buy a new Range Rover? Well, I've covered that off in a previous Beer and Bollocks. Probably not. I just think the cars have become too complex. I think when... Let me put it a different way. If there was a bloody great big knife pointing towards your chest in the middle of the steering wheel, would you drive like a twat? Yeah. When you've got lane control, lane assist, automatic braking, speed control, cruise control, and all this other stuff, and airbags all over the place. All these things just like distract you from really what you're supposed to be doing, which is actually being in control of a car, high speed, killing machine, really. So I don't like all this modern driver aid stuff. There are people out there absolutely love it, and there's a main reason why I get on with so many people is because I respect other people's opinions. I'm an adult. But for me, I don't like all that stuff. It's unnecessary. If it's in a car when I get in it, and there's constant bong, 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 clink, 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 tick, tick, tick. Put your fucking seatbelt on. Shit, I do wear a seatbelt. Then, I just think that people get cosseted. There's been an advert on the radio for a Vauxhall, And they've been advertising how smart it is because it's got lane assist, and it's got this, and it's got that. And it can, it will not only help you find a parking space, but it will reverse into it for you as well. Well, for fuck's sake, if you can't reverse into a parking space, you shouldn't be driving. Really? Might have been a bit controversial there, Richard, but honestly, it's where it goes. If you can't stay in a straight line on a motorway in between the dotted white lines, really, you shouldn't be driving. You're too tired or you're too distracted. That's why I don't like all this stuff. And it's gone from being a safety aid into being an everyday aid. So no, I won't buy a car with all that stuff on it. There you go. But, so why do I buy shit old cars? Because they're cheap and they actually involve me in the process of actually making it move from A to B. I like that process. Also, I can get a better car for my money. I mean, I could flog my Range Rover and I could buy myself a 4-year-old Mondeo. Nice car, nothing wrong with it. There you go. I'd rather have my Range Rover though. Sense of occasion and all that. And my Stag. I forget the Stag. Poor old Rupert. I'm going to have to get Rupert out fairly soon. Today's beer, by the way, I haven't announced this one. This is a Thirsty Ferret. It's a Badger Ale. Thirsty Ferret. Amber Ale. Ubiquitous Amber Ale. 4.4%. This is one, I think, this is one that James bought me. I've also got beers donated by Dale, who turned up blind this week. Not, he didn't turn up blind, he just an unexpected arrival. Bought me beer and a job to do his car, so I'm going to quote on that, get that sorted out for him. Oh, right. Biggest regret on car purchase. What's the biggest regret you've ever had on buying a car? I don't think I have really. I've had regrets selling cars, but I never really have regrets buying cars. So, sorry, that's a bit of a shit answer, wasn't it? Good question. Shit answer. Can't help that. Favourite YouTube channel? I really, really, really like Cold War Motors. I think it's fantastic. It's everything. It's right up my street. I think that Scott's skills in the workshop for beating metal out of absolutely nothing and creating the most complex shapes out of a sheet of metal, they inspire me. So I think that channel is really good. I really love Arthur Tussick. It's just like something ASMR-y about watching a bloke take an absolutely and utterly rinsed motor that's had all the corners knocked off it and put it back into the right shape. There's a different debate about whether the car should ever go back on the road or not, but as far as I can see, he's working to the original manufacturer's seams and is repairing the cars as the manufacturer would have built them in the factory, so I don't see any reason why not. There's other channels that I kind of like, but I tend not to have the time to watch YouTube much these days. I watch some of the political commentary on YouTube, just really because I don't watch the news. I generally find that because of Ofcom, the news is largely biased these days. So if you want the real news, then kind of have to watch some of the commentary on YouTube and various other channels. I like Jim Davidson's channel. He makes me laugh. He always has made me laugh. He's not racist. I'm not racist. There you go. Does that help that? That's probably good. I'll put a link below to all the other channels that I kind of watch. The main ones that I like. Do I want to go on the telly? No, absolutely not. I've got no desire whatsoever to go on the telly, and other than your telly watching YouTube, but that's only because you're watching your YouTube through the telly. I've got no desire at all to reach that many millions of people. It gives me the gives me the willies. Favourite car show ever? It's a tricky one. Because back in the 1980s, it would have been Formula One on BBC One. There's no alternatives. Back in the 70s, it would have been banger racing on World of Sport, just before you have your tea on a Saturday night. I really enjoyed the whole Top Gear thing up until probably about a year or so before the Clarkson et al. Exit. I think Top Gear really hasn't done anything different since those guys have left. I like Grand Tour. I like watching that. I like the Channel 4 show. There's a few out there. I like Bangers in Cash. That's a really good one. I do like Bangers in Cash. Car SOS. I like that. Tim, you come across as a right cockhead, but I do love the show. I can see where it's going. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that, should I? Tim, you're probably a really nice bloke as well. It's fantastic. So I know it's all an act. It's all an act. None of this is an act. This is just me rambling. Favourite car ever? I've answered that question before. Watch Beer and Bollocks. It's a 365 GTB4 Ferrari Daytona. Fixed head coupe. Insert picture here. Sex on wheels. What's coming up? Well, in the workshop, actually, I am mega busy at the moment. I'm on my own, as you well know. My wife wants me to get people in to help me, but, you know, to be honest, I actually quite like working on my own. So Bob is due to complete in a month, within the month. I've got my dad's car coming in, which is the car that Andrew Pierre White drove in Wales. So that's coming in for a paint job, a load of remediation work and odds and sods. It started to get a bit tatty 20 years after its restoration. I've got an LSE coming in for work on sills, rear cross member, front inner wings. I've got a Series 3 coming in, Series 3 Land Rover, short wheelbase, needs loom, needs new wheel studs, needs brake lines, other odds and sods like that. A number of Range Rovers. There's another Stag coming in, a Tango Orange Stag coming in, which is going to be needing reasonable amount of work. I'm not going to go berserk with it because the owner really just wants to use the car. So it will be better than MOT patching, but it needs work onto the sills, the rear suspension mounts and so forth. So it'll be good welding. And it's not been used in a number of years. So I need to really just get it into a reliable and serviceable state. A little bit like I did with the Red Stag that's just left the workshop. What else have I got? I've got a Stag that needs a gearbox change. Jeff, it is booked into the calendar. So yeah, there's a gearbox change going from a BW35, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't work, into HP ZF4 HP22. Quite a popular conversion. He's bought all the bits. He just doesn't fancy doing it. It's heavy duty, so I'm going to get that in. Do that gearbox change. I'll video all that because that's just different. I've got sets and sets and sets of carburetors coming in. A refurb. So I generally do those when I get sick to death of welding or bashing metal or taking lumps out of my hands. I'll build a set of carbs. What else have I got? No, that's about it really. I saw James. Yes, James yesterday donated beer, chair, lead light, etc., and also pallet truck. James is Mr. TR7, so he's back in the UK for a short period of time, but rather hoping that we can get the TR7s sorted out. He's pretty capable on his own, but he's going to get that 4-pot out. We're going to find out why that failed. I want that, James. Let me have that 4-pot. When you finish with it, I want to get that running properly because they're actually quite a nice engine. I know there's people out there that say TR7s are shit. Come on, guys, get out of it. It's like 1970 bloody trade unions at Spake Plant 2. Give it up. TR7s are not shit. TR7 was best-selling TR. I think they sold more TR7s than they did of all of the other TR range. It's not shit. I think also if you look at the prices, and I've been watching the prices at auctions, TR7s, they're starting to creep up. Watch them. They're no longer banger money. And I think that there is a new generation of younger driver, not old giffers like me who remember them when they were new. But you know, there's lads in their 20s, well, lasses in their 20s, sorry, not being discriminatory here, that look at them and think, hey, that's not an MX-5 and it's cheap, and they're going for it. Good luck to them. I like them. I like TR7s. But it kind of like the whole TR7 mentality, it does. There's a whole BL bashing pile of shit that goes on. Anything Leyland made is shit. It's bollocks. the Top Gear presenters have not helped him. Yeah, there were some problems, but things like the Allegro, I can hear you all switching off already. Allegro Estate was an amazing car. My mum had one, and it was brilliant. Its only problem was that it was assembled by BL engineers. They were probably on strike because the rich teas had been taken off the fucking tea trolley. I don't know. I think a lot of BL's issues around quality control was because management and workers could not talk to each other, so the unions intervened and the whole fucking lot went to shit. I'm not going to get political on it. I don't want to get political on it. I don't get political on it. I don't do politics. So this BL bashing thing, I do not understand. Back in the 1970s, yes, I remember the 1970s. I was born in 67. So yes, I remember the 1970s. And I remember, you know, my uncle getting a Mark 1 Cortina estate. It was a piece of shit. It was the worst piece of shit known to mankind. Now, people treasure them. But back then, it had an appalling image. It was a Dagenham dustbin. Escorts, we used to drag them up to the tip. They were crap. They're not now. And I don't mean to offend anyone by saying, but back then, they were crap. They were white goods. They were as close to a white good as you could get. And cars were typically, if a car lasted 10 years, it was a good one. More often than not, you find them in the scrapyards after about 5 or 6 years or so. They were just, you know, that's where they were. So how it is that Fords are so revered now when cars like Cavalier, which I don't think it was Car of the Year, but it certainly led the #1 car in the car sales, it's nowhere. Where's all the Cavaliers? How come everyone's driving around in Escorts? I had a Cavalier, I love my Cavalier. The same with the old Marina. Everyone says, oh, it's a parts bodge, it was a parts bin, but what the fuck do you think every other car is out there? Do you think every single manufacturer builds a complete car from scratch with brand spanking new components every time they design one? No. So I think the Marina kind of took a bit of shoeing. A little bit of that was down to the fact that BL were fairly naive when it came to launching a car. They certainly were when it came to the Stag. And I've been over the whole Stag story, but you know, when it came to launching the Stag, that thing should have been launched with a straight 6 out of the well-developed straight 6, straight out of the saloon range, like Mercedes did with the SL, the Bobby Ewing SL, while they developed the V8. But no, they had to get the V8 sorted, and they just made a complete and utter fuck-up of it. All the problems are fixed now. But the same thing happened with the Marina. So they launched the Marina, and they decided they were going to go cheap, take all the anti-roll bars out, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sort of first time a journalist gets into it, it's like the journalist, if the journalist has never experienced understeer before, he will have done within a Marina at the production, at launch. But BL fixed those issues. And that car, I mean, it sold enormous numbers. My dad had 2 of them. My dad was a bit of a BL convert, actually. He had 2 Marinas, both 1.3. One was manual, one was automatic. 72 and a 73, I think. But we used to go on family holidays in them. Take 3 kids, all our luggage, dog. We had a dog. I don't mean the dog. I'm not talking about, okay, I'm going to leave that, Richard. You know, my mum and dad in the front, and we just used to go everywhere. The only thing that was awful about it was, and it was just like any other 1970s car, was you sat on the seats on a hot day and you stuck to them. Or if you wound the window down and put your arm on the window ledge, you get a nice red line across the back of your arm where it burnt on the window ledge. And I'm sure manufacturers have learnt from that, and they fixed those issues, which is great moving forwards. But overall, I thought the Marina was actually quite a sensible, straightforward, white good, which is exactly what it was. It did exactly what it said on the tin. And, you know, it just has become fashionable to say, if it's BL, it's shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'll probably rant on a little bit about it, but, you know, lots of cars were shit. Pretty much everything was a fucking white good. I mean, even more so now than it was back then. Nowadays, just get into your Richie Fatty 5000. Could be anything. Could be any manufacturer. You don't know. So I don't like the BL bashing. I mean, people want to BL bash. I don't give a shit. You fucking fill your boots. But I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to agree with me. That's what makes us adults. Any more questions? I've gone about BL too long. No, we're out of questions. Fuck it. Right, okay. Right, what I need to do first, I think, is I'm going to get another beer. This one's almost done. And then we'll have a little chat about Le Mans. So I'll come up with some stories about Le Mans, because I've selected a few. Adrian, one of my Le Mans original chaps from Le Mans, that I've been going to Le Mans with since 1991, has come up with some ideas about things that really I should be talking to you folk about, but I might need another beer before I do that. So let me get that sorted out and I'll come back. So as you well know, I've been going to Le Mans since 1991. I've seen the best years. I've seen the best year. The best year, 1991. Like I said, everything else has just been... Well, that's as far as the racing is concerned. We've had some fucking giggles. We really have over the years. So there's quite a few guys that have been going down there, but it was Adrian, my dad, me, Adrian's dad, my brother. We were the kind of the five originators for the blokes at Le Mans. How am I going to start this? I don't know how I'm going to fucking start this. So one of the things that did kind of happen, because we camped in various different places, you've got to find ways to entertain yourself. You know, when you get down there on a Wednesday morning, or even earlier sometimes, you need to find ways of entertaining yourself, but also entertaining your neighbours, because while there's not, in the main campsites, the main ACO campsites, we're not talking about the fancy ones that are off track. We're talking about the kind of the ploughed fields full of bloody nails and shit and burnt pallets in the ground. There's no one-upmanship or anything like that, but sometimes you walk past a camp and you think, fucking hell, hats off to those boys. They've done good. It was one of the very, very early years that we were there. I think it was 93 or 95. Adrian will correct me in the comments below. But we were camped out on the infield, just by the Dunlop Bridge. Bugatti Circuit runs very, very close to there. The small circuit at Le Mans. We were camped actually on the circuit. The first notable thing about that was that we were camped right next to a big camp of Hells Angels, chapter, flags, the lot. And Dave and Adrian, who were bikers, were a bit worried about this, but they seemed really nice blokes to me. Anyway, the funny thing about that was that they just seemed to spend all of their time chasing pretty women, and there weren't many at Le Mans back in those days, because most women stayed at home, because honestly, shitting in a hedge, it's not really the sort of thing they want to do, is it? The other thing they were doing, sorry, two other things. They had a transit minibus thing that they got down there, and they just spent all of their time backfiring this minibus. Where basically, you have it running, you turn the ignition off while you're flooring the throttle, and then turn it back on again, and it backfires every fucking time. Bang. I don't know how the exhaust survived that. And the last thing they did, which was just outstanding, was firing rockets into each other's tents all night long. It was just, it got into a bit of a, and you just like see this, you'd be sitting outside your tent thinking, I can't sleep. And you just see this rocket going into a tent, and then you see this reflection of someone like doing this like silhouette. Boom. Anyway, they all look quite happy next day, so no real damage done. Hey, don't mess around with fireworks, kids. But the day we arrived there, and I think it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, it was way before the race, the whole lot of guys turned up, and they parked right opposite us, and they turned up in E-types and, you know, Austin Healey 3000s, really, really nice selection of cars all turned up, and they all sat around drinking, beers, and we think, because we were having a laugh, because we went down in Adrian's Passat. It was a very, very old Passat. It was one of the first Passats out there. Insert picture here of Adrian's passout. And that's Dave on the boot lid as well, I think. I think that's Dave sitting at the back there. Anyway, so all these guys sat around drinking beer, and they must have been drinking beer for about an hour and a half. We're thinking, when are they going to set up camp? When? When's it going to happen? And eventually this bloke turned up in a transit van. He wasn't happy. I thought you bastards were going to fucking well wait for me, is what he shouted at them. It's obviously before radar, bloody speed cameras and shit like that. But, you know, gents, you got a fast car. You're not going to hang around, are you? Anyway, he took the guy in the transit 2 whole stubbies to calm down. Anyway, he put in the transit van, he had like a massive marquee, huge tent, gazebos. They were frying bloody salmon steaks for their lunch. We were looking at this thinking, this is where we need to be. So those guys inspired us really to up our game, rather than kind of sleeping underneath the car sort of thing, or sleeping in your sleeping bag beside the car and just getting covered in dust and shit all night long. We decided to up our game. And there was a couple of ways we did that, really. So what are we going to do here? Let's go through. Yeah, Porn Show. Porn Show was a cracker. So on a Mad Friday, we decided that Mad Friday, which has always been Mad Friday since Le Mans began, it is always Mad Friday. Even the drivers used to go out and get shit-faced. It wasn't uncommon for a driver to be given a large brandy when he came in for a pit stop, or a cognac if he was winning. And it was a Mad Friday. We did this thing where, first of all, we'd go and get absolutely shit-faced in the village, except for Adrian, of course, who didn't want to buy his own round. Sorry, Adrian. I've done that before. I've done it again. Sorry, chap. It's just instinctive. I'm sorry. Anyway, no more Adrian bashing. It's not fair. Sorry, Adrian. It's all right to do serious bashing. He should Dudley. And yeah, in the evenings we'd get dressed up, but because it was like filthy hot, we'd have white dinner shirts on, black dinner jackets, black tie, and shorts and walking boots. And it was kind of like we would have a big sit down. Curry, it got into curry, and initially it started out with Ravi Shankar playing the sitar, just like curry house music. But we decided that wasn't obvious enough. So then I kind of put together a jingoistic mixtape of war themes, of Last Night at the Proms, and gave everyone song cards. And regular rousing choruses of the Queen, and everyone would have to stand up and toast the Queen. There was a few bloody Republicans with it, but tough shit, guys. If you don't want to stand up and toast the Queen, we're going to tip beer over you and throw tampons at you. Anyway, so this is kind of like, and then because of course we would start this at about 7, 8 o'clock, and the sun was up until probably 9:30, 10, I would have thought. And then for the rest of Mad Friday, because you've really got to do it properly. I mean, you would have been drinking since like 9 in the morning. You've got to go good on this at Le Mans. You can't be a lightweight. There's no room for lightweights. You've got to leave your sobriety and your money issues at home. So as the sun went down, then we went through a couple of episodes where we were kind of watching porn on this stupid little fucking TV screen and on projectors that just... And it was just like, it was odd. I'm sitting with all my mates here watching porn, and it's like 1990s porn, and it's... So I invested... It's something I took my money under my own initiative. I invested in a Cine 8 projector, no sound, just a Cine 8 projector, and I started buying vintage 50s, 60s Stag Club reels. I think that's what they were called. And I had probably about an hour of footage, and I spliced them all together, put them on a bloody great big reel, and then we would play that while we were all sitting there smoking fucking great big cigars and drinking like fish. We project it onto the side of the gazebo, so everyone else around could see it in reverse on the other side of the gazebo. And because there was no sound on the projector, I had a CD of Hammond organ greats. So it was all kind of like popular music, but played on a Hammond organ. I think you had to be there, but so many people come up to us and just like, "Where'd you get it from? How'd you do that?" It was brilliant. It was just outstanding. And then like we would be sitting there watching some raven-haired, buxom lass taking her clothes off, and she'd drop her panties, and she'd have this massive bush, and like everywhere, like, ah! It was fun. It was really, 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 very, very, very funny. And I think that kind of we had this thing that when we're out there, we do not have any kind of intention to offend anybody else around us. So if they find themselves offended, these are their problems, not our problems. Except for Seath, of course. Seath just wants to go out and offend everybody. And my brother too. But no, the porn show was a cracker. And other things that happened on Mad Friday. When we were in Carting Nord, the road that went past Carting Nord parallel to the track between the Porter chicane and the Ford chicane. The road's still there, but I think the campsite's gone now. It's all a karting track now. There used to be fairly regular burnouts there. Now, some of the behaviour was really fucking antisocial. And if you're British and you were down there and you were kind of like, you know, chucking bottles on the road and shit like that, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves, because you were... I'm going to have to edit that one out. There really was some people there that cannot control their beer. And we've been drinking all day long, and we didn't need to chuck bottles on the ground. And we didn't need to rock camper vans as they were coming in, because they didn't want to do a burnout. But anyway, the folk that did want to do burnouts, it was quite good. So basically they laid down a kind of a strip of Mazola and washing up water across the road. And it was marked up. And there was some hooligan behaviour there, but we didn't participate in that because, to be honest, they're just knuckle-dragging morons. And I'm ashamed to say they were largely English as well. But anyway, you get some really good burnouts. And there were some nice cars going up and down, more often than not, to and from, probably our Narge. And they would come back, and they would be encouraged to do a burnout, and they would deliver, and it was great fun. So we were all up in the bank watching all this shit going on. It was great fun. Anyway, it all got stopped because the toilet truck was going past. Anyway, my brother started out this chant of shit truck, shit truck, shit truck. Anyway, the shit truck done a burnout, and it was fucking amazing. It wasn't very good as a burnout, but it was like the whole bank on both sides of the road was chanting shit truck. I guess you had to be there, but it was a good one. It was memorable. But there was some antisocial behaviour there. I mean, I was down at the roundabout, the end of that road, at the entrance of Beaujour, and there was just a crowd of fucking yobbos, knuckle-dragging Neanderthals that were just like rocking cars because they didn't want to do a burnout. And the John Claudes, they were just standing there watching. Shame the CRS weren't there. They'd have gone in baton charging. That's the one thing about Le Mans, is that if you creep through the woods, and it's fantastic because you can see some fantastic things, but don't, because it's dangerous. But honestly, I never did it, but I know people that have, where you get through to the infield at Indianapolis, coming off the end of the Indianapolis straight down from Mulsanne Corner, and just the cars are it's just incredible. CRS catch you there. They will baton charge you. They will beat the shit out of you. And then they'll ask questions about what you're doing here. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to break all your bones. So because of that, people generally behave themselves, but there was a yobbo element. We just steer clear of that. It wasn't good. Confession time. There's a couple of things that kind of, because Adrian, more often than not, Adrian was mum bloke at one point, because Adrian cooked everything for us and organised us all and made sure we brushed our teeth and made sure we were tucked up in our beds at night. He was an absolute superstar. And you know, it's the chefing thing that he did. It's tireless activity, cooking for, like, when you got a dozen blokes there, they're just getting shit faced, and you know, only two of them want to actually fucking do anything. More often than not, I wasn't one of them as well, because I was really shit-faced. And Adrian, you know, prepares these meals and stuff, and it was relentless, tireless. So there was two things. Sorry, that was a big, horrible burp then. That was a really good one. There was a couple of things that kind of used to regularly appear on the menus, and one of them was merguez. Now, if you've ever had merguez, all I can describe it as is it's like the thinnest sausage you've ever seen in your life. It's orange. It's got lots of garlic in it, and it's quite spicy. And the only reason you know you've had a merguez is because next day your shit is bright orange, and you know about it then. And the other thing that happens is Seath, who liked to offend everybody, normally while he was sitting in someone else's chair, reading someone else's magazine, and doing absolutely fuck all. Sorry, Seath, that's what you used to do, chap. I used to do it too. He had this real issue with Richmond sausages. Now, I have an issue with Richmond sausages, but if that's all that's on the menu, I'll eat Richmond sausages, you know what I mean? No, he wouldn't eat them. So it got to the point where Adrian would make sure that every single meal that Seath ate had at least a bit of merguez or a Richmond sausage in it. There we are. Seath's like, oh my God, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him. He's from Dudley, you know. Sorry, Adrian. Stitched you up there, chap. No, it was... What's wrong with Richmond sausages? Okay, they're 95% fat, but, you know, for crying out loud. Oh, Mad Friday is a good one. Mad Friday. You're walking around the village, and invariably you'll find yourself up near or towards the Dunlop Bridge, staggering from bar to bar. And there used to be a beer tent, beer keller there. I haven't seen that the last time I was there, but to be honest, they're giving up with it all now. It's got too commercial. I've seen the best years. I wish I was there in the 80s, because that really would have been the best years. I've seen some of the classics racing, and 91 was the best year for me. It was the first year I went. But anyway, invariably you would end up, it would either be the Kronenberg or the Guinness tent, the big beer tent at the top end of the village, almost up by the Dunlop Bridge. It's the tail end of the Star-Finish Straight, halfway between there, let's say, the Dunlop Bridge. So it's always impossible to get a table in there. Well, it would be in fucking COVID land. But we managed to get ourselves a table, and we've been kind of nicking chairs as and when people got up. We go nickel. Anyway, we were sitting in the sunshine. Anyway, this place was fucking rammed, absolutely rammed, and we were enjoying beer. And then behind me, my brother was facing me. I didn't know what happened. My brother just stood up and started clapping like this. And I turned around and there was a chap walking in, and he probably looked a bit like me now, frumpy old, codger. But he had with him a lass that was a fair bit younger than him, wearing a crocheted top and fuck all else. Well, she had shorts on, of course, but crocheted top. Anyway, the whole bar ended up standing up and giving this bloke a round of applause. Not good. Okay, very, very, very unpolitically correct, but I don't give that. Sorry, I don't mean to offend. If you're offended, it's a you problem, not me. Anyway, all I'm doing is telling stories, but it was so funny. And he walked in, proud as, hey, look at what I'm shagging. She was just like, what'd you go dressed like that for, darling? You're in a bloody place where there's like 300,000 English blokes that are all pissed, and 2 women. That was a long time ago. There's an awful lot more women go to them all now, and that was a fair few years ago. But what we would do then on the way back, I mean, after that was it. Can't kind of beat that on that. So we decided to set off back because Adrian had already cleared up because it was getting dangerously close to his rep. Oh shit! I've done it again. And was cooking the curry for us because he was tired as slaves to cook food for us. And we might, and this is kind of one of the fairly common events, is you stop off at the Tartiflet tent. Now, Tartiflet is one of the French regions. It's made in one of the French regions. It's very close to the Swiss border, and it consists of per helping, it's about a wheel of brie like that, a big handful of gristly pork bits, and about 4.5 pounds of sliced potato. And it turns up in this polystyrene container. They have it in a massive great big pile of pan thing, and they just sit there stirring it all day long. Anyway, it turns up in this little polystyrene tub, and you're eating it, and you're knowing that the next crap you're going to have is going to be really uncomfortable. It's going to be like shitting a bloody pineapple, but it's so tasty. And every time, Tartiflet. You get it in tins in the supermarkets, but it's never quite the same as the shit they used to serve up at Le Mans. Good stuff. It was really, really good stuff. Stand! What time are we? 6. I'll probably wrap this up in a minute. See what else we can talk about Le Mans. One of the blokes that I went with, Stock Car Mike. You heard about Stock Car Mike. Stock Car Mike was driving my brother's car when he drove into the back of my car at a roundabout near Bayeux. Thanks, Mike. He was... He still is. He's a cracking chap, but he's... I don't think he's on the spectrum. That's just mean, Michael. But he's kind of like, he's fussy. Everything's got a bit... Anyway, so he was off taking photographs and stuff, because he takes some fantastic photographs, really does. He was off taking photographs. We were behind the pit lane, and we found that the steps, this is Mad Friday, we found the steps up to the grandstands above the pit were open. So, right, sod it, we're going to go up there. So we were halfway up there. Where's Michael? Oh, he was over there taking photographs. No sign of him. There's like 100,000 people walking around the pits. You can't see him. So eventually, we saw him, and he was only about 100 foot away from us, but we were probably, 2 flights of stairs up from him. So it ended up with a shout, Michael, the tops of our voices, and he couldn't see where the noise was coming from because there's so much noise around him. So he's looking around like this. What? It got to the point where we'd probably been doing it for about 12 seconds or so before someone else in the paddock decided it would be really funny to shout Michael. Because from where we were, which was above all of the kind of the motor wagons and all of the kind of the hospitality stuff that all of the big teams bring, and we just heard Michael, and he was just like, what do you want? Stitched him up like an absolute kipper. Anyway, I don't know. That was kind of the Mad Friday stuff. We go back to the Virgin year. There was quite a funny one. I wasn't there, but my brothers told me this, that I was... Because Adrian and his dad went in Adrian's Capri, and me, my dad, and my brother went in my dad's dad's company BX, which is actually my mum's car, and a Citroen that was, by the way, just in case. And we did the whole pit walk, because someone had told us you need to do the pit walk. So we did that. It wasn't a pit walk, it was Mad Friday. The pit lane's open on Mad Friday, but we walked up and down. Back in the days where you could actually drink a stubby in the pit lane. No, you're not allowed to do that anymore. It's all gone a bit kind of berserk now. But anyway, we were walking through all the garage, and I took loads of photographs on that trip, insert here. But we were walking up and down the pit lane, and my dad had this thing about, okay, the cars have been through all of these qualifying sessions and test sessions, and they do largely pull the cars apart on the Thursday night. After the Thursday night session, they will start to pull the cars apart and assess the wear, so they know how far they can rag them on race day for 24 hours racing, so they will last not 1 mile longer than the 24 hours that they're forecasting to drive. And it's not unheard of for a car to kind of like fail on its parade lap. They will get to the end of the start-finish straight and turn into the wrong end of the pit lane because there's no way they're going to do another lap. So that's why the main reason I love endurance racing. It's fantastic. It's not about driving a car as fast as you can. It's nursing a car over a 24-hour period. If you don't cross the finish line, you don't pass the checker flag, you do not qualify as a finisher. That is it. End of story. No arguing. No ifs, no buts. So they do an awful lot of work on the cars from Thursday night, end of qualifying, and by the time we eventually get down to the pit lane, gone midday. Let's face it, you've been drinking all day Thursday. You started drinking fairly early on Friday. Fucking hell, that jumped off. Might have to get another beer. I just shat myself. What are we going to get this time, chap? This one looks interesting. Oh, it's an Otter. Award-winning album. Doom Bar. Tribute. I'm going to have this one. It's Otter Ale. Classic award-winning ale. Still haven't got a bottle opener. Right. So, we were walking up and down the pit lane, and my dad, let's face it, I mean, we're talking 1991. How many years ago is that? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. 30 years. 30 years ago. So my dad was in his late 40s. And probably not used to drinking that much. But no, we were, to be honest, we were slaughtered. But he got on this bit of a rant about all of these mechanics in their white overalls. They weren't real mechanics. They were kind of dressing the set, so to speak. And he kept going on and on and on about it. Anyway, I walked off. I can't be doing with this. It's just embarrassing. Anyway, it happened, and I don't think I was there, or I was really pissed and don't recall it. But my brother was with my dad, and they were walking down the middle of the pit lane, and Dad sees 2 or 3 guys in white overalls walking towards him with crowds of people around them. So he just kind of walked straight to the front and explained exactly what he thought. These guys were all male models. You guys aren't mechanics, you're all male models, you're just dressing the set just to make it look good. And the chap he was speaking to just started laughing, and it was Johnny Herbert, who won the race, 1991, in the Mazda 787 RB. Fucking legend. But Simon told me, my brother told me that it's a sort of thing my dad would do. We've had so many. We went through a phase of pit lane walks in future years, and it was probably one of my brother's most irritating years, where he just gets absolutely rinsed before he goes in, absolutely shit face before he goes into the pit lane. And he went through this phase of pretending he was press, and he would kind of like barge his way through to the rope in front, right at the front, because all the garages were roped off. And they've got all the panels laid out in front on the forecourt where the cars were stopped during the race. Brother would barge all the way through all that. The bird just flown past. Interesting. Anyway, not for you, of course. He'd barge up to the rope, the cordon, and shout, "Press, press," and then someone would come running towards him. This is, come on, speak to the team principal, please. And the chap would come up. Team principal would come out. Brother would like, so where are you hoping to come in the race? And you get a very, very, very long answer. Or what position are you hoping for in the race? Get a very, very, very long answer. My brother says, so not missionary then. You think, you fucking idiot, you just wasted an opportunity to talk to someone really good here. And you just wasted it with a stupid statement. It was just like, comedy at its absolute worst. The other thing he used to do was, and I've never done it, but you get the posters and you get the drivers to sign the poster. So a lot of the teams, they will be sponsored. All of the teams are sponsored because they can't afford to do Le Mans without sponsorship. The sponsors often give posters away, and I've got some cracking posters. I have got hundreds of posters from Le Mans over the 20-odd years or so I've been going. Some are real beauties. And I probably ought to dress the workshop with them, actually. It would be a good idea, wouldn't it? That's not a bad idea, Richard. Thank you for suggesting it. Whoever suggested that, well done. But the driver, the co-driver, the three drivers, the main driver, the principal, and the two co-drivers would be sitting at a table, and there would be a pit dolly, back when you were allowed to have pit dollies, back when women were allowed to earn money to move pieces of paper from one driver to another. And they'd all have Sharpies. And they sign these. So my brother turns up, he's in the queue, and the pit dolly gives him a poster. My brother said, "Can you sign this, please? Love and kisses, Simon." So she did. Absolutely hats off to her. You know, she must have heard it 1,000 times before. She's a lovely lass. So I'm standing behind him, and I did get the poster signed by the three drivers. But anyway, she moves the poster onto the primary driver, and Simon reaches across the table and snatches it off him. That's all he wanted, was her signature. Love you, Simon. What an oath. What an absolute oath. Little bloke won't go to Le Mans where Simon's going. And I can understand. In all honesty, I can understand. I think Simon is sober. He's fantastic. Shit-faced. He's just a pain in the arse. Well, if you're sober, he's a pain in the arse. If you're not, right, I'm going to try this Otter Rail now. Otter Rail, classic award-winning ale, ABV 4.5% from the Otter Brewery of Devonshire. On the back of the bottle, it says, "Relaxing with an otter is a pastime enjoyed by Devonians and visitors alike." Visitors, otherwise known as grockles. Now it's in bottles, which rhymes with grockles. Maybe that's what they meant to say. Otter Ale also be enjoyed, can be enjoyed in the comfort of your own home. I'm not in my own home. How's that work? If I drink this, am I in my own home? It's a real fireside beer that blends some of Devon's best Mars Otter malt, English foals, and Challenger hops, and is then lovingly, I can't read very fast, got wrong glasses on, lovingly brewed with our very own water from the head springs of the River Otter. Perfect taste of Devon. Well, let's find out. That's not a bad drop, that. I recommend that. That's nice. That is nice. That is really nice. That's better than Exmoor Stag. Exmoor Stag, good. Thank you, James. Otter Ale came from Dale. Thank you, Dale. No, that is nice. Very nice. Oh dear. Right, where were we? I don't know. We've probably gone on for about an hour now. It's going to be a long beer and bollocks session tonight. A lot of profanity to edit out. So, another piece of feedback I've been given is that people want to watch the videos, but are kind of like, don't want to watch it because of the... So I've actually now come to the conclusion that certain brands, marks, certain people that own certain cars do or do not acknowledge profanity. And I think it's fair to say that anyone that has ever driven a Land Rover will know profanity. However, most people that drive Triumph Stags don't. So in my future videos on Triumph Stags, I'm not going to swear. Sorry for you folks who come here for the fucks and the shits and the bollocks. And Land Rover videos, it will continue. It really will. Most of it is for comedic effect. My missus will say you swear all the time, but I don't actually swear all the time. When I'm in the workshop on my own and something's really bugging me, then I swear, and maybe that's what the downturn in the kind of the footage is all about, because because I can't film all the time. It's peaceful at the moment, but because I can't film all the time, maybe you're missing the majority of the fuck, shits and bollocks. It's weird, isn't it, Richard? Very, very, very weird. Anyway, I think that's enough tonight. You're going to leave me to enjoy this Otter Rail. Otter Rail from the Otter Brewery. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy this, and the kind of the 6:20 sunshine we still got, because it's end of April and it's quiet. I can hear the pigeons on the roof shitting in the gutter. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any suggestions, you got any observations, you got any criticism, bung it through. You know where I am. Church House Classics. It's all one word at gmail.com. And if you fancy, buy me a pint, or donating to the channel for me to buy things like engineer, shelving brackets and racks and lights and cameras and whatever else, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling down here. And I do thank everyone personally who has donated. No donation is received lightly. Anyway, enjoy your evenings.